This is Ep.3 of our podcast. And if you don't know who we are, we're three friends that we enjoy to talk sports, we enjoy playing games, and we do our best to have a little bit of fun every once in a while. So for today's podcast, I'm going to look at Jaden and ask him, what's on the menu for today?
We're going to be talking about the conference finals that just happened between the Nuggets and the Lakers, as well as the Celtics and Heat. And we're also going to be playing a nice little draft-style game. After we finish that, I would like to know what you guys think of that, if we should do some more games like that, some more draft. And yeah, I think that's all we got for today.
Awesome. Sounds perfect. So, although I did the intro, Jaden's going to be steering the ship for us today. So, Jaden, without further ado, the keys are yours.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the Nuggets first. I think they're kind of proving everybody wrong. Going into this playoffs, I think everyone kind of felt like it was going to be the same thing. The Nuggets have always been an elite team in the regular season, and then they kind of fall off in the playoffs. And hats off to Mike Malone, Nikola Jokic, and the Denver Nuggets, proving to everyone that they're the team to beat. I think far and away, they are the best team in the NBA right now, and I think they're going to bring it home.
For sure, I totally agree. Jamal Murray. How about Jamal Murray? We talked about him on the last episode. That dude can play. He shows up in the big time plays. I mean, he's doing everything for that team right now. And then to have like an MVP caliber player like Nikola Jokic, and then Jamal Murray to step in there too, playing at an MVP caliber level right now. I don't know if they'll be stopped to go all the way. But Game 4 is tonight, and
Going for the sweep.
You think it's a sweep tonight? I mean, we'll get to that later. But they are balling right now.
Yeah, I completely agree, obviously, and I think the one thing that's really setting them apart now, from maybe the Nuggets teams in the past. First off, I think Aaron Gordon knows his role, right? So he's not a shooter, right? Plain and simple, he's not a shooter, but he is so elite around the rim. He makes a huge difference. But the other two players that I know, all three of us love, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Bruce Brown. They're guys. They're not gonna win you a game, right? If they're hot, they may, but other than that, they're not gonna be, those offensive threats that absolutely destroy a game for you. But they are gonna make a difference in the ways that not everybody sees. Carson, I know you love Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. What makes you love Kentavious Caldwell-Pope?
So one thing that makes me love him so much. Dude shoots over 40% from 3 and D, and he's the best defender on their team, arguably, him and Aaron Gordon. And that's what makes Bruce Brown, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Aaron Gordon, just like you said, so valuable to that team. Because Jokic and Jamal Murray, if there's one thing they lack, is defense. They do lack defense. But Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown, and Aaron Gordon, they all know their roles. They can all, besides Aaron Gordon, those two can shoot, and they can all defend. And Aaron Gordon is probably the best defender out of all of them, so that's why he is such a valuable player, and he knows his role. Those three huge additions for that team.
I think every team in the league could use a guy like Bruce Brown.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. No, I completely agree. He's such a good role player. I mean, he's always kind of been the same exact player, but he's an important piece to any team. One question I want to ask about the Lakers, for the Lakers' sake. What are we thinking about LeBron right now? Obviously all the sports pundits are talking about how LeBron, he may be his age is starting to show. Is this LeBron the way LeBron's playing right now? Is this going to be the new LeBron? Is this how the rest of LeBron's career will go? I mean, he's not playing very well, right? Even things like missing layups, but like he had that insane like didn't hit like 20 straight threes, right? So is this the new LeBron? Is this the new LeBron? What do you guys think?
I think just this version of LeBron, he absolutely doesn't have the juice that he used to have back in the Miami days or the 2016 Cavaliers, where he could just carry a team. I think this Lakers team kind of feels like just a bunch of pieces thrown at a wall, hoping that they can stick. And I just don't think LeBron's enough to get him over that hump at this point in the career. And you can just see it. They're outmatched every single game, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that the other thing that we got to keep in mind about this Lakers team, and it's easy to forget because they have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, they're a 7 seed. a team that at the midway point certainly wasn't in the playoffs, and 3/4 of the way into the season wasn't in the playoffs. So Carson, you're probably the biggest LeBron fan here. What do you think? What do you make of not only the way he's playing, but what do you make of the rest of his career? How do you think? Do you think this is the same old LeBron now, or do you think he's going to go back to his 2021, 2022 ways?
So I personally believe LeBron is still playing at a high caliber right now. The thing that I think changed the most this year is everybody's forgetting that this team is a whole different team at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they've got like 6 new guys. So could it be chemistry? Maybe. But granted, before this series, they were playing amazing.
Right.
So, I mean, I think LeBron's fine. He's still playing at a high level. He doesn't look like he's slowing down. I mean, he's still outrunning everybody at his age, at year 21, 20, whatever it is. And, I mean, I think he is personally fine. Anthony Davis, still fine. He's just inconsistent this series. And so going forward, I think the Lakers, I saw some rumors today about Lakers maybe getting Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And the report I saw said that if they were to get Kyrie Irving, they would have to get rid of Rui Hachimura. And the way he's been playing right now, I don't know if that's even worth it because Kyrie's age, Kyrie's contract, Rui's going to be cheaper and he's younger, so you get more years out of Rui. So, I mean, is it even worth it at that point? Then I'm glad I'm not in that position to make. So
absolutely. So last offseason, LeBron agreed to a 2-year, $97 million contract, right? So that means he's locked up for this year. He's going to be locked up through the Lakers next year. Now, we all know next year, the Bronny James sweepstakes starts. Therefore, the LeBron sweepstakes start. Do you think that teams are going to overpay for LeBron? Or do you think that teams are going to overpay for that pick to get Bronny James to get LeBron?
So, yes, I would say it that way. I don't think teams will overpay for LeBron.
Right.
Because, obviously, they got to get Bronny first.
Exactly.
I think you might see a team that's not very contentions, like Pacers, Pistons, something like that. Next, for a team to go get a LeBron, and even if it doesn't work out, as an owner, you're gonna look down and be like, "That's ticket sales."
Right.
And so, at the end of the day, he might not bring you a finals, but he's gonna sell tickets.
Yeah. Well, didn't during the season didn't LeBron make a comment about how he'd never play in Orlando? Didn't he say something like I'd retire before I played in Orlando, right?
I did see that.
So he said something about that. So that makes you think, what if the Pacers or the Pistons or any of those teams were to draft Bronny? Would LeBron even want to go there? I mean, what do you think, Jaden? Do you think that LeBron would drop everything to go to any market to play with Bronny?
It seems kind of unrealistic to me. I kind of don't see it happening ever. It kind of seems like a fairy tale. I think LeBron is too stubborn of a player to just play for anybody. I think it could be something where maybe Bronny falls in the right hands of someone that LeBron would want to go to, but I don't see it happening. I think it's just kind of blown out of proportion at this point.
So you don't think we'll see Eli Manning?
Yeah, right.
You don't think
Force
you'll see Eli Manning force a trade at the draft?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of agree with you, Jaden. And we see some crazy things every year in the NBA, but I just don't know if I can see, Bronny forcing his way out of any team that drafts him to go to a different team so he can play with his dad.
So just to be that guy, I'll be the guy that says, I think it will happen. The reason for that is, how LeBron I don't know if you guys saw LeBron's most recent post, but where he said Bronny, if he wanted to go to school at blank, he could go to that school blank because of me. That's what So with that mentality, I'm going to go opposite of you guys. I think it will happen. I think LeBron will go where Bronny goes.
Gotcha. Interesting. And I guess the other point that I have to make on that is that, Bronny, he, look, I don't know if he's a top 10 draft pick next year. I don't know. But when you start to get in that 15 to 20 range, I mean, if a team's drafting at 20, they were likely a playoff team, so they're kind of in that contention, right? And that's the team that LeBron would want to go to, so there's definitely that possibility. My question is this a legacy is this LeBron putting his legacy on the line? What if he goes to a team and they win 20 games in that season, and then he's kind of just remembered for following his son to a team, and he won 25 games in his final season before he retired. What do you make of that, Carson? Like, what if do you think LeBron would put that risk on the line?
So I think LeBron's in that stage in his career where he said his goal right now, his number one goal, obviously he wants to win championships, but his goal, he said right now, is he wants to play with his kids. So I think he would put it aside and just say, hey, if I win 30 games, 20 games, I'll take it just to play with my kid. He thinks that'd be something special.
Yeah, great point. Great point. So with that being said, right? Unfortunately, there is an elephant in the room. The Boston Celtics are down 0-3. They're down 0-3. So last time we were on, the last podcast we filmed was the day of Game 2, right? So since then, the Boston Celtics have lost. Then they played Game 3 last night, and they lost. So without further ado, we're gonna give Jaden to have his Boston Celtics his third annual Boston Celtics State of the Union. Take it away.
Yeah, there's kind of a lot to unpack there. Certainly was not the outcome I expected to see in Game 3. I think there's a lot of fingers you can point at a lot of different people. You can call it the coaching, you can call it the players, but I think that's just an all-around meltdown. That can't happen. I think I saw a lot of people complaining about Missoula just because last year with Udoka we were kind of a defensive-minded team, and that's obviously not the case. We've let up 120 plus every single game. I don't think any amount of coaching can make up for the fact that you have all NBA guys along with your sixth man of the year, former defensive player of the year, all wet in the bed when it matters most. That's just pitiful. That's what it is. You got guys like Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Caleb Martin looking like they're the all NBA guys.
Right.
I mean, can't play defense. I have here written down on my paper the Celtics are shooting 28 for 83 on open or wide open shots. I mean, how do you expect to win like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the one thing that differs from the Celtics and the Heat, and from every other team in the league in the Heat have Jimmy Butler. Carson, talk about Jimmy Butler.
So Jimmy Butler, kind of like I said with Jaylen Brown, another one of the most underrated players in the NBA.
Yeah.
Except Jimmy Butler's actually playing and Jaylen Brown isn't. So,
well, I mean, heck, we're even getting to the point. Is he even underrated anymore, Jimmy? I mean, he is getting his shine now, man. He's getting his shine.
So playoff Jimmy is a different caliber player. I mean, he's starting to turn into one of those guys that, like, when you think of playoffs, you think of Jimmy Butler. And it is actually, it's crazy to think. And another guy that's stepping up with confidence is Bam Adebayo, Kentucky boy. And because he's always a lot of teams leave him open. They play a lot of drop defense on him, and the Celtics are doing it. But Bam is becoming a different player in this series. He is catching the ball at the elbow, and he is looking to shoot, looking to score, looking to go right into your chest and finish. And I think Bam is getting underlooked under Jimmy. Obviously, Jimmy's having a phenomenal, but Bam has been a huge player for them in this series as well.
Well, and Carson, as you know as a coach, many times when players like Bam Adebayo aren't shooting, it's not because they can't do it. It's because they're not looking to do it. Like you said, they're not confident in doing it. So I think seeing this new confident Bam Adebayo, it's accelerated his game so much and made him even. I mean, he's a 6'9" athletic freak that's basically a point center, right? So I mean, the problems that he has caused the Celtics and every other team they've played. With him being aggressive, he's become just as much of a matchup nightmare as anybody in the league. So you mentioned Jaden. You mentioned these Max Struses of the world. You mentioned the Caleb Martins of the world. And I said it last episode, right? The old adage in the NBA: stars win you the road games, role players win you the home games, right? Last night we saw Caleb Martin step up, and we saw Max Strus step up. What kind of problems have they posed to the Celtics that I guess the Celtics weren't expecting? Like, what have these role players on the Heat, what have they done to throw the Celtics off?
I think it starts with identity. We've talked so much about Jimmy Butler, but I think it's him leading by example, showing what Heat culture's about. They show up every night. They're consistent. With the Celtics, you don't know what they're getting. They're so inconsistent. They're over here complaining to the refs, throwing their hands in the air after every play. And the Heat just look like they're playing behind their leader. They're having a good time. They're celebrating. They're playing with great chemistry. And I think that's just elevating all of those role players so much. And you see it every game. They're shooting the lights out right now. 56% from the field last game.
Yeah, absolutely. These the role players have really stepped up. And I think another funny thing that we're seeing out of the Heat that just cracks me up is that if the Heat were like going like let's say they weren't a bunch of NBA players, let's say they're the same play style, but they were an NCAA tournament team, they were a college team. They're a team that in the tournament we'd pick them to go on an insane run just because they're a bunch of dogs, right? We don't see that much in the NBA, just a team just full of a bunch of dogs, right? So like I said, Game 3 tonight. We'll make our predictions in a little bit. Game 4 tonight. We'll make our predictions a little bit, but really, really looking forward to these finals and seeing if either the Lakers or the Celtics have a chance to come
That brings us to today's game. We're going to switch it up a little bit today. We got something a little bit different. We're going to have an all-time NBA draft. We're going to be competing against each other to try to compile the best lineup in NBA history, something unstoppable. Here's the rules for today's draft. All players are in their prime or whatever version of that player you want. It's a snake-style draft. No duplicates. So once a player's off the board, you can't take him.
Awesome.
All good?
And then what was draft order again?
Just snake style. So the third pick is going to have the first pick in the second round.
Gotcha.
So who has first, who has second, who has third?
First pick for today, we have Jacob. Second pick is Carson.
It's rigged.
I have the third pick.
Rigged. All right.
Yeah, my first pick, I'm taking Bronny. I'm just kidding. Because I want LeBron at some point. Alrighty, so with my first pick, I'm gonna take at my 4 spot. At my 4 spot, I'm putting LeBron James. Putting LeBron James at my 4.
LeBron is off the board.
Okay.
And kind of, first off, I want the Miami Heat 2012 LeBron, and my reasoning for that is because I go around every day and telling people that LeBron's the greatest player of all time. So why would it make sense for me not to pick who I think the greatest player of all time is? I see why you'd take Jordan because he's great. Obviously, he's phenomenal, and he'll likely be the number 2 pick. But for me, I just think that LeBron, he's unstoppable. He can be point guard, he can be paymaster, he can be shooter, and the 2012 version of LeBron with the headband is virtually unstoppable. That's why I put LeBron, took him with my first pick, and like I said, I'm playing him at the 4.
So go ahead and give me. I gotta go Jordan. Jordan at the 1. I'm gonna take Jordan at the 1.
Interesting.
So 6'6", 6'5", whatever
Right.
he is.
6'6".
Kind of give me that height at the point guard position, and obviously, arguably the best player of all time. Can handle it. I mean, he's fine at the 1. Give me Michael Jordan at the point guard position.
And so, are you taking Washington Wizards Jordan or
Exactly.
rookie year Jordan?
Taking Washington Wizards Michael Jordan.
41-year-old Michael Jordan.
No.
What year? 96?
95, 96.
Gotcha.
Give me that Michael Jordan.
Nice.
Well, the GOATs are off the board. You guys both went best player available, which those were the top 2 guys for me. That's who I would have took too. So now I kind of have a tough decision on my hands. And what I'm thinking is I got to get a killer combo. And what I'm thinking, best shooter of all time, most dominant player of all time. Give me Curry, give me Shaq. Might not be the best players available, but I think that's a duo that no one's ready for.
Wow. I absolutely agree with that. I think that's a really, really good combo. Really good combo.
Gotcha. So that leads up to me, right?
Yep, that's you.
So with that being said, go ahead and give me Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. Dude's a freak. Probably the most athletic big man of all time. Ran like a 4.4, benched like 600 pounds. Not going to stop the dude. He can guard Shaq for Pete's sake. I mean, go ahead and give me the best center of all time. I'll go ahead and say that too.
Really.
I had Wilt S3 for me.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt is 3. Wow. So for my next pick, I'm gonna pick probably the greatest number 2 guy of all time. But he was such a great number 2 that I think he had a chance to be one of the greatest number 1 men of all time. If he would have got a chance. I'm going Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen at the 3. Scottie Pippen at the 3. Kind of my reasoning for this is Scottie Pippen can guard 1 through 3, right? No question. Maybe 4, if it's somebody like LeBron, somebody of that height. If you put like a center there, Scottie's not guarding him, obviously. But 1 through 3, Scottie can guard him. And since Carson has Michael at the 1, I may just have Pippen, pick up full court on Michael. So I'm going Scottie Pippen at the 3. Scottie Pippen at the 3. And then with my next pick, I'm going. I'm at the 2. I'm going Ray Allen. And I'm gonna go a little bit before 2012 Ray Allen, so I'm not gonna match him with 2012 LeBron. I'm gonna go. I'm stuck between Boston Celtics and Bucks Ray Allen. I think I'm gonna go Celtics Ray Allen though, to be my 2 guy.
Gotcha. So with that being said, thanks for leaving me the second all-time leading scorer at the 4 spot, and I'll take Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And so it was nice knowing you guys. Good luck stopping that high-low. Just good luck.
You got the height for sure.
And with also to be said, Wilt can guard anybody 1 through 5, so he'd play that 4 spot for me.
All right, so I got 2 picks here. And I think I'm going to go with an interesting move. I think I'm going to move Curry down to the 2. And I think I'm going to take Magic Johnson. And then with my other pick, I think I'm going to take, in my opinion, the greatest scorer of all time, probably the most talented basketball player, Kevin Durant.
All right, so that's back to me, right?
Yep.
So with that being said, let's see here. I will take. So I want to stay old style, and give me the Birdman, Larry Bird. Give him to me.
Larry Legend.
So as you see, I'm building my height. Can guard. I want to get everybody that can guard 1 through 5, and give me Larry Legend, arguably the best shooter of all time as well.
Yeah. So I think that one of the number 1 things to make a human, somewhat of a successful human is I think to have a little bit of vulnerability. So now's my time to admit my vulnerability. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit with Scottie Pippen, taking him there, but we're here now, right? So I have to make some decisions. So first off, at the 1, I'm gonna put Big O there, Oscar Robertson there. I think that Oscar Robertson, I believe, is probably the greatest point guard of all time.
Stat sheet stuffer.
Absolutely. So Oscar Robertson at the 1, and then at the 5, I'm gonna have an interesting pick. So I've already sacrificed all my height. I've sacrificed probably guarding any of Carson's 4 or 5, right, with having LeBron at the 4. So at the 5, I'm gonna go, instead of trying to compensate for some of that lack of defense and some of that lack of height. At the 5, I'm gonna put Dirk. And the main reason for that is because first off, he's literally, that fadeaway is literally unstoppable. I don't care who you are, you're not stopping it. Number 2, though, he's one of the very few centers of all time. One of the few great centers of all time that can step out and hit one for you. So that's why I'm going Dirk at the 5. Dirk at the 5. So, a little bit of an unconventional lineup. I'll be the first to admit it. And that's just because I might have jumped the gun with Scottie Pippen. But I'm happy with my lineup, and I think that it does a really good job of opposing, your all's lineups.
So, like I said, it's a wrap. It's already over. My draft, I already won this draft. So it was good game. So go ahead and thank you guys for leaving them out there as well. My favorite player, arguably of all time, Kobe Bryant. Thank you. It was good knowing you guys. Give me that Kobe mentality, and that leaves me with NJ, Kobe, Larry Bird, Kareem, and Wilt. So good job. Thank you.
I would have to disagree with that.
I'll be honest, I'm actually ecstatic with you taking Kobe there. I think you've really hurt the chemistry of your team really bad by making that pick.
Too many alpha personalities, I think.
Bingo.
Nope.
Bingo. And can't shoot worth your 4 and your 5 can't shoot worth a lick.
That's fine.
It's going to hurt. So what's the point of having that high-low? What's the point of having Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant if you're just going to do high-low?
Huh?
What's
the point?
Yeah. What's the point of having Jordan and Kobe if you're just going to do high-low the whole game?
Well, so there's so many ways you can do with this offense. I mean, you can do a high-low, or you can just do a high ball screen with him in a drop spot, the other big in the drop spot,
Yeah.
And then you got Kobe and Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. Set Larry Bird in the corner. He did, and that's the crazy part. We don't even need Larry Bird on offense.
Right.
Just sit in that corner. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, give them a screen from Kareem or Wilt, and put the other big man in the drop spot. You ain't stopping this team.
I think on paper...
Okay, and another thing for your team, your center's Dirk. Yeah, what's he gonna do?
I already told you.
He can't guard Kareem in the paint.
I already told you. I know. 2s or 3s more than 2. So earlier in the podcast we were talking about the Miami Heat. We were talking about their identity, right? And their identity is they're just dogs, right? If they were in the tournament and they weren't NBA level players, we'd pick them to go far just because they're dogs. I think the problem with your team is you have an identity crisis. Unfortunately, nobody wants to have an identity crisis. Nobody wants to have an identity crisis.
I still got one more pick though, so I can make my team.
I think I just want to sit here and argue with Carson all day.
I'm down.
Alrighty, Jaden, your last pick, your final pick.
With the last pick, I'm kind of looking at my team. I got a playmaker in Magic. I got 2 phenomenal scorers in Curry and Durant. I got the most dominant big man of all time, Shaq. And I think I'm going to continue to stay in that lane. I'm taking Giannis. Who's stopping Giannis and Shaq down at the 4 and 5?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Jump shot.
I don't think I don't think anybody's matching those 2 down low. Athletically.
Oh no doubt. Nobody's matching them down low. And I think a lot of times they have Giannis listed at like 6'11". I mean, he's like 7'2". He's like 7'2". But yeah, I think it's interesting. Should we go back through our lineups one more time?
Yeah.
So let's go in draft order.
Awesome. So at the 1 I have Big O, Oscar Robertson, Mr. Triple Double. At the 2 I have Ray Allen. At the 3 I have Scottie Pippen. At the 4 I have LeBron, and then at the 5 I have Dirk Nowitzki.
So with my 1, I'm going to go Kobe Bryant. At my 2, I'm going to go Michael Jordan. At my 3, I'm going Larry Bird. 4, I'm going Wilt Chamberlain, and 5, I'm going Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
At my 1, I had Magic Johnson, the greatest playmaker of all time. At my 2, the best shooter of all time, Curry. And then at my 3, I got Durant. At my 4, Giannis. And at my 5, I got Shaq.
So at the end of this video, will you guys just please drop a comment on who do you think has the best lineup?
Yeah, let us know.
Let
Absolutely.
us know.
And remember, not always on paper is all that matters, right? You don't want to have identity crises. As a team, it works out well at the beginning, but by the time playoffs come around, it really shows. So just keep that in mind when you're leaving your comment. in the illustrious history of the NBA, there have been so many playoff series, so many playoff games. But one thing that has never happened in the history of the NBA, there's never been a team come back from 3-0 down. So with that being said, right, we're just gonna hedge our bets. We're gonna take our chances. We're gonna assume that the NBA Finals is gonna be the Nuggets versus the Heat. Now, if we're wrong, be the first to accuse us. But we're gonna take our chances and say that the Nuggets and the Heat are gonna play in the finals. So Jaden, I'm gonna go to you. When I say Nuggets Heat, what do you think about that matchup? What comes to mind as far as that matchup goes?
Well, I think it's fair to say both teams have had historic runs. I don't think very many people would have put their money on these two teams being in the finals at the beginning of the playoffs. Both, like I said, both historic runs. But I predicted in the first podcast that the Nuggets are going to win it all, and I'm sticking with that. I think at some point it's going to run out for the Heat. I just think on paper they're so outmatched by the Nuggets. I think it's too much. Yeah, I think I got Nuggets in 6. What do you guys think?
So my prediction is obviously with the Heat and Nuggets. I believe it's going to actually be a decent series. I think the Heat have kind of proven themselves. I mean, you got to think they've won a lot of. They were in the play-in, so they've won a lot of games to get to this point. And kind of like you were saying, how they might run out. I just don't see them running out because I think they're legit. Like I think they're legit now. I mean, they're showing it. They're up 3-0 on the former Eastern Conference Finals champions, or 3-0, and I think they're legit. And granted, the Nuggets are legit. So, with that being said, I mean, you got Jokic. Like I said, he's the best player left in this in the finals. Do I think Bam can guard him? No.
Nobody can.
But can Eric Spoelstra maybe design some type of crazy philosophy with some type of crazy double team? If there was a coach left in this, I think Spoelstra could find a way. So I think it will go Game 7. I really do, and I am going to say Nuggets, but I won't be surprised if he win. I really do, because Jimmy Butler, maybe they have Aaron Gordon on him. I mean, that's probably your best bet because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is going to be on probably Gabe Vincent. He's going to be on that guard to ball pressure. But Aaron Gordon, I'm guessing, is going to be on Jimmy Butler, which is probably the best fit. So we'll see. I think it'll be interesting. Jimmy Butler has been. It doesn't matter who's been on him. He's been able to score, get to the rim, make plays, get other people open. He's been a ball player, and I think it's going to go Game 7 though, and I have Nuggets.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this NBA Finals, or this Finals that we're assuming is going to happen, is that it kind of contradicts everything that we've ever known about how the NBA works, right? It's always been you got to have at least 2 superstars, right? I think if the Celtics would have got in, I would have said okay, because Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, in my opinion, are both superstars, right? On the other way around, LeBron and AD, they're both superstars, right? But on the Nuggets side, we have Jamal Murray, a star probably, and then obviously Jokic is a superstar, right? Now, I mean, Jamal Murray's playing like a superstar right now. But then on the other side, on the Heat side, we have Jimmy Butler, superstar, Bam Adebayo, star, and a bunch of role players, right? So it's kind of contradicting everything that we've ever known. So I think that that's the big thing that's kind of caught people off guard. As far as the series goes, I agree, Carson. I think it's going to go deep into the series just because Spoelstra is a mastermind. He's been at Miami for so long for a reason, right? And I also think that it'll go 7. But man, when the Nuggets are on, they've looked unstoppable. And the other thing that's so special is, like, I think Game 2 the Nuggets were off. They were terrible in the first half. Then the second half they came out and played like the Nuggets. So a team that can even, mid-game change like that, I just think the Nuggets are just too good of a team. They're too good of a team, and they're the team that we never really knew were too good of a team. So I got Nuggets in 7. For
sure. So, and just to add to that, I think it's going to come down to big plays. Like, who's going to be the big play role players, like, who's been for the Heat and the Nuggets. I think the role players are going to be a big factor in the finals because everyone's going to be like, okay, Spoelstra, I already know Spoelstra. I'm not going to let Nikola Jokic beat me. I'm
Right.
not. If I get beat, it's going to be KCP, Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown. I want to get beat by them. I don't want to get beat by Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. And same thing the other way. I guarantee it. Mike Malone is going to be like, I don't want to get beat by Jimmy Butler. And that's the difference between the teams, though. Denver has Jamal Murray and Jokic. I don't think they're scared of Bam Adebayo beating them.
Right.
He can have 20 points. He
Yeah.
can have 25 points maybe. But that's not enough to win. If you got to stop Jimmy Butler. And I think that's going to be their game plan, coach's game plan. I think let's get beat by role players. If we're going to get beat, let's get beat by role players. And I think that's what their mindset is.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think that with the Nuggets are one, they're kind of that West Coast kind of high scoring. The Heat are generally East Coast low scoring grit and grind. You think this is a high scoring series, Jaden, or a low scoring series? Or do you think it'll bounce around?
I think just by the nature of the way that the Heat play, they play a lot of zone. They make you slow it down. I think it's not going to be a super high scoring series, but with the way that both teams are kind of firing on offense lately, it wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
But I think it'll be a low scoring series personally.
Right. What do you think, Carson?
So I think it will go based on who's home. I actually do. So like in Denver, I think game one. So who will be home? It'll be Denver. Denver will be home game one, game two.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I think game one you'll probably see a little sluggish Heat because of the altitude. They say that's a big factor.
Right.
And I think game two will be a little bit better for the Heat. I think in Denver it'll be high scoring.
Yeah.
At Miami, I think it'll be a little bit more low scoring, and then I think it'll stay that way the course of the whole game seven, like I think. And that's how I think. So I think it just depends on who's home.
Yeah, and I think another thing that builds upon that is, and you never want it to come up to them, but a lot of times it depends on how the game's officiated.
That too.
Sometimes the games are, super duper physical with some officiating crews, but then with like a Scott Foster officiating crew, for example, bingo. So I think it also depends on who the officials are, on how many times the teams get to the line. So that's that really puts the focus on things. So before we wrap up here, any last closing words?
So I actually have one more thing I want to go over.
Ask him something too.
I want to go. So go. Is it about this?
Yeah.
Go ahead and say that now, and I'll go after you.
I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on Tyler Hero. I saw that there was a chance that he could be coming back for the finals. What do you think he could mean for this Heat team? Maybe they don't want to mess it up. I mean, this group right now is playing so well, but what do you think about Tyler Hero potentially coming back into the lineup?
I forgot all about that, and he's my favorite player in the NBA right now. Wonder Boy, I'm telling you right now, he can be a difference maker too. He's kind of like for the Nuggets, just like him, just like Michael Porter. He's that same role. He can have a great game, but there's also games where he can shoot bad and then he hurts you, and that's just honesty. And I think Tyler Hero, there's a game, if he comes back game one, I think there's a game two, maybe one or two games in that 7-game series that I think is going to happen. He'll have 2 good games where it'll be like, oh crap, that's why the Heat won. And I really do think that. You guys got anything?
Mm-mm.
Nothing. So one thing I want to end on is, so now we're talking future. I want to know, this has never been done before. 3-0 right now. This is right now. For the Celtics are down 3-0, Lakers are down 3-0. Out of those 2 teams, if it was to happen, what team would be the team to come back and win 4-3 in Game 7? And I'll start with you, Jake.
For me, no doubt the Celtics. Because I could really genuinely see, and we've been talking about this the whole playoffs and the Heat's whole run, but I could see they're over the Nuggets, right? I could see them going cold for 4 straight games and the Celtics going ballistic. Right, I could probably see the Lakers going ballistic for 4 straight games, but I can't see the Nuggets going cold like the Heat could for 4 straight games.
What about you?
I realistically don't think either of them have a chance at all, but if one of them was going to do it, I would say the Celtics, although it seemed like the last game was a funeral. No intensity by them at all, but it seems like in the past years, you do get the best Celtics when they are faced with adversity. Sometimes it takes a guy like Marcus Smart. He's had fights with guys in the locker room, and then we really turn around after things like that. And I think potentially the Celtics could pull it off, but I still don't think it's going to happen.
And then I'll say mine. I think, and I'm going away from you guys, I think the Lakers. The reason why I think that is I I think we haven't seen the best Anthony Davis yet. I mean, he had one
Game
really
one.
good game,
Yeah, game
and
one.
I take that back. He had one really good
He
game.
played terrible game too.
We haven't seen one good LeBron yet.
Right.
So
That's scary.
So
Yeah.
that is, I don't know if you guys saw his interview. He looked pretty like, let's make history. Let's do it
Yeah.
again. And so if it was me, we haven't seen the best LeBron. We've seen one good AD, which he lit up a triple double to Jokic, and Jokic had 30. So he really just evened out.
Right.
So I'm gonna go Lakers. I think we haven't seen the best out of those two star players, and I'm gonna jump on the Lakers.
Nice.